This is Key of Key and Mercy.
Sorry.
Wow. And we are doing another episode of Critical Conversations. It's been a while since we did this. If you guys have not watched any of the episodes of Critical Conversations, they are on the Key and Mercy YouTube channel. For the sake of clarity, please tell us what your names are.
Nene.
What? Your name what?
Nene.
Nene. Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Hey, bro.
Bro, Corona.
Asia.
Linasia.
Okay. So, we are going to talk a little bit today about co-parenting and how things look from y'all perspective. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
You sure? Is that something else y'all want to talk about?
No, we can talk about that.
And then it looked like she got stuck. Like, I'm not about to do this.
Corvette. Sorry, go ahead.
What in the world is that? Okay. So, what is it that, even though two people are not together, what is something that's very important that the child still needs from both parents?
Communication.
Okay.
A relationship with both of them.
Okay, but separate? Is that how that
Yes.
works?
Yes.
Okay. I hear a lot of fathers say, I want my own relationship. And what that sounds like to me is that the mother is interfering with the child's relationship with the father. Have either of you experienced the mother interfering or the father interfering with the mother's relationship with the child?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I have.
You want to tell us a little bit? It's up to you. You don't have to.
Well, I could say I have, but I really haven't, because both of my parents, depending on what it is that I've done, they come together on the behalf for my good. So
Okay.
Wait, what was the question again? Sorry.
I said, so what this looks like when the child doesn't get what they need from both parents, when the separation of the relationship, when I said, so a child should have a separate relationship with their dad and their mother, has there ever been an instant where the father dictated the relationship you had with the mother, or the mother dictated the relationship you had with your father?
Yeah, it was always my father, like, dictating the relationship that I had with my mother. And honestly, it did get to a point where that started affecting me in ways that caused me to look at my mother differently and question me and her relationship. But yeah, it was. I think it was more so of the bad mouthing that caused me to just look at our relationship and be like, no.
Okay, so did you start looking at the relationship differently as you got older and you realized what bad mouthing was? Or is this something you haven't overcome?
No, this is definitely something that I've overcame as I got older, seeing things with my own two eyes and seeing what's really going on. It has caused me to look at things a lot more differently.
Okay. What do you think a child who isn't getting what they need from both their parents looks like?
the wild one, the one that's always out partying, and the disobedient one, but it's not really them trying to be disobedient intentionally.
Okay.
That's the big part that everybody seems to miss.
Okay. So you're saying they're not intentionally being disobedient. So do you think it's an attention driver?
Yeah. Which means like basically kind of like reflecting on what we talked about earlier, where people know the wrong,
Mm-hmm.
or the parent knows what they're doing wrong and not really fixing it. So that causes
okay.
wilding out, the disobedience part.
Okay. Do you agree with what she's saying?
Yeah.
Was that your phone?
No, ma'am.
Did you just lie?
Excuse me for a minute. That was my bank account.
Oh, okay.
All right.
But I kind of feel like that looks what it looks like when you said what it looks like when
a child isn't getting what they need. What does the child that isn't getting what they need from both their parents look like?
Looking for attention / love in other places that they lack in one parent, or rather it be both.
Okay.
Which is, I was listening to a video, basically like when you will know that, especially when you start dating, you'll know that the other person is lacking kind of some of the similar things that you may be lacking because of their actions and what they weren't taught, which is basically, I think it's called the trauma or the abuse, whatever you want to call it. You'll pick up on it, especially if you're going through it yourself.
So do you think that that's unhealthy?
I think that it's unhealthy because you have to be whole within yourself.
Okay.
And the other person should be whole within themselves in order for it to work. Because otherwise, then you wonder, like, why is there always issues and issues and issues? It's because neither one of y'all work the issues out within your own self and from your own abuse and trauma. And then they just go around hurting people because they weren't loved.
Hurt people.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you agree with what she's saying?
It's messed up. I experienced that, but
I mean, it's very common, and it doesn't seem like it's common, but it's very common. And a lot of times, it's not common because we have yet to acknowledge our traumas. So when you're in denial about what you've gone through with your parents, and the person you're dating is in denial about what they've gone through with their parents, now you got two broken people together trying to figure their self out while they're in a relationship. So it's common. It's just not something that's actually acknowledged, which is why it can be bad. I'm sure that you all have probably gone through this, but how do you deal with visiting the different households of your siblings? And do you always get along with the other siblings?
Wait a minute. What do you mean?
I know what she means.
So both of you, my testimony is in all my videos. So my followers already know that my kids have different fathers, and that my kids' fathers have kids with other women. So what's the relationship like when you go to your other siblings' houses where their mothers may parent differently? And how is your relationship with your other siblings? Do you guys get along? Is dad creating a difference, and that's keeping you guys kind of in a rift at times because you know that dad is showing a difference in you all? Does it seem like the atmosphere is welcoming? Let's just talk to that audience of kids who have different siblings because their father has different women that they've had kids with.
I'm gonna be 100. That's Rocky.
Okay.
And I'm only gonna say it from my experience. Okay. We got not only the same daddy, but different mamas.
Right.
So of course you got the sibling that I do what I want to do, and then you got the one that's like, well, I can't do what I want to do, and then they go that clash. So it is a difference because we raised by different women. So it's just rocky. Like,
so a lot of are you saying like a lot of the clashing is because everybody's coming from a different house, and how that house is being ran?
Yeah, I was about to say I've never yes I have. I was just gonna say I've never really been in my siblings' parent house, but I have, and it was pretty different. But I think mine was different because Nene, you the oldest out of all your other siblings. I'm the youngest.
Oh, okay. So does that play a part as far as where you fall in line at with the other siblings?
It do. and then it's also kind of, like I say, it's kind of rough because then there are still some that look up to you, but it's like because of how their parents is raising them, it's hard to like, dang, I gotta try to explain this to them, and they was taught a different way.
Okay.
So
okay, so it complicates you guys actually. It complicates you actually playing the big sister role
and bonding.
Okay, and as the baby sister, because she the oldest in her siblings, and you the youngest in your siblings.
Yeah.
So as the baby sister, do you find it hard to look up to your older siblings, given the different backgrounds that they come from?
Not really.
Not really.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, not really.
So I know, Asia, you went through a significant amount of time where it was hard for you to understand the communication between both parents because the communication was actually going through you. Yeah. Explain as a child how you feel about the parents communicating everything through you. You in a safe space. It's okay.
I'm just trying to,
she probably like,
I'm just trying to find a way to word it.
Don't look for it. Just word it, because they want you raw and uncut. There's somebody out here who needs to hear how you dealt with that, how you felt.
Girl.
Okay. Not basically. Okay, it's just like, for one, it's very confusing. Me personally, it was very confusing for me with having them go through communication, like having them do their communication through me, because it kind of have you looking at each parent differently when you hear the one parent saying, okay, tell your mom I said this, and then the other one saying, okay, well, tell your dad I said this, and then it's just like, well, I mean, is this how things like really went, or like it could really be confusing to the child because the child really may not know what to do, who to listen to, or how is this really supposed to go. But as I got older, I kind of realized that communication between two parents plays a big part in a child's life, because for one, a child could definitely get words mixed up.
Yes.
And the minute some get mixed up, now it's like, now they're looking at the child as if to say, they mixed up my words, that's not what I meant. But now it's just kind of like, you looking at it like, well, had y'all communicated this with y'all self, y'all will know what one another said instead of communicating through me.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it's not good to communicate through a child. It could really confuse a child and, most importantly, brainwash a child.
Yeah, you just used a really good word there.
And I know, me personally, I was definitely brainwashed. And I can honestly say I was brainwashed because it was just too much of the he say, she say. I was hearing this on one end, I was hearing another on another end, and it was really confusing, and it was just like, I didn't know what to believe. But it was just like, after a while of hearing the same negative things about one person, you start to believe it until you see with your own eyes what's really happening and what's really going on. So, yeah. That's why I say never communicate through the child with the parents. No matter how bad you hate the parent, whatever the case may be, communication plays a big part when it comes down to two parents and one child. That child will often, or me personally, I often felt stuck in the middle. Because now it's like, y'all put me in the middle of what y'all got going on when y'all can communicate this yourself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You want to piggyback off that?
I mean, that's really about right.
Okay.
Because then you can't, and then they wonder why kids' grades and stuff, or young adults' grades be failing in school, and why this and why that.
Okay.
I mean, if all y'all had to do was just communicate with one another.
So, and then it's just like another thing.
Then they paint a picture of a person.
Yeah, they paint a picture of a person before they can actually see who they really are. Then too, it's almost like that's forcing a child to grow up more than actually being a kid. Oftentimes people say a kid needs to stay in a kid's place, but what parents fail to realize is y'all not letting that kid stay in a kid's place when you put them in the middle of what y'all two got going on.
Amen. Girl, let me snap to that. Blood of Jesus. Let me stop. So, that brings me to a good point. Me and Nene were talking earlier, and I described to her what I call the defensive parent. And what I was explaining to her is that the defensive parent is that parent that doesn't, because Nene, do you remember the point you made to me? Mm-hmm. Do you remember what the point was?
A defensive parent.
I told you that was called a defensive parent when I was saying that sometimes you all have to be honest with the parent about how you feel.
But and you that said pushes us further away from wanting to be honest, because y'all already y'all don't accept the truth y'all self from what y'all done did to us.
Correct.
So now it's like, well, whatever.
So what I explained to her is that I call them the defensive parent because when you try to talk to them and tell them how you feel, they start answering for you. They start telling you things like, well, if I did it, when I say it, what I do, and who actually wants to go back and forth with somebody that's already angry when you having a moment about your feelings. Mm-hmm. So what do you, because I know what I see in some of the young adults that I talk to, what do you all see when your peers start to try to speak to a parent about how they feel, and how do they react to how the parent acts? What's the parent's reaction, and then how does your peers react to how the parent reacting?
Well, pretty much what you just said. The parent normally reacts defensive, and wanting to say they're not really trying to see why that child may feel the way they feel, or
they're gonna blame,
or they're telling them what makes them feel the way they feel. And then the parent comes back defending themselves, saying maybe like you said, well, when did I say that? Or had I said this, how would it have went? Or, boy, you don't know what you're talking about, or something along those lines. Mm-hmm. And then now it's just like, the kid is going to shut down because it's just like, you're not really trying to see where I'm coming from. Mm-hmm. You too busy trying to defend yourself that you're not really taking my feelings into consideration and how I'm feeling right now. And I'm trying to open up to you and tell you this, and you're not really receiving of it. Mm-hmm. So,
you have anything to add to that?
I mean,
you look deep in thought.
Because that's kind of like about right. And most not only shut down, that's when the whole, like I said, they start to become looking like that. This one always wild. This one always doing this. Or they'll slowly just start to go to, most of our peers will go to other people's parents. Once they realize I can't reach mine, so let me go to my friend so-and-so's person, or my uncle and auntie who I can so freely that understands. So,
well, most parents, another thing, what a lot of parents fail to realize is when they feel like they're not being heard at home, they're going to go somewhere where they feel as though they can't be heard.
Okay.
Whether it be...
And sometimes it'll end up being also a relationship too. If they don't have that uncle, that auntie, or my friend's mom, they'll go to...
They see a relationship with someone else.
That will console them.
And does that sometimes lead to people staying in toxic relationships?
Yeah.
Because they giving you something that you weren't able to get there, so you'll stay with them because they give you that one thing? I mean, like, will they stay for that one thing? How important is that to be heard by a parent?
It's real important. Because just imagine holding it in. Like, you'll eventually...
If you are expressing how you feel and you feel as though you're not really being heard, whether that person don't really listen to you or they're not really understanding. I'm just speaking from experience. Like, I'm saying, like, I'm getting personal. But I know that at one point in time when I felt like I wasn't being heard, at least I thought I was being heard by staying in a toxic relationship. And it wasn't even like, I wasn't really even getting heard. It was just like, I'm just here just to be here. Like, maybe I think he listening. No, he not listening. Do he really care? No, he really don't care. But I'm going to stay anyway because ain't nothing going on at home. Or because of what's happening at home. I'm not really being heard. So it's just like, so yeah.
So let's give them some background, because a lot of what y'all talking about, we've been down this road. We've overcome it, but we've been down this road. So what is coffee communication, and where did it stem from?
Coffee communication is
us gathering together to talk about our highs, our lows, issues. It's just like what's that girl? The Red Table Talks.
Okay.
But with coffee, where you could just pour out your feelings of whatever you feel as though is on your mind, that you feel like, I really can't say this at home, but because it's a lot of us, I'm gonna just go ahead and air it out now, because somebody go back me up. So
it's a safe space.
It's a safe space where it's judge free. You basically just can say how you feel. Now, I would say do what you want to do, but it's.
You say you would say what?
I would say do what you would do, but.
Well, no,
it's really just saying what you want to say.
Yeah. No, it's exactly that. And of course, I made the rules up, and even though I struggled with the rules at first, but you're not allowed to, as the parents, because we've had a couple parents at some of them, but the parent is not allowed to get upset. The parent is not allowed to bring up anything that was said in the circle and throw it in the child's face. The parent is not allowed to question anything that the child said. They're only there to sit and listen, take notes, and understand what it was that their child said and gave to them in that instant, and then go back and work on themselves. It was basically created to give the child a voice, as Asia said earlier, where you feel as though you need a second. No. They working on you. Where Asia said that you go somewhere else because you're not being heard at home. Mm-hmm. So it just gives you that outlet, and it keeps you from going to that somewhere else and it being a bad place. Mm-hmm. So it's a safe space to share, ask whatever necessary questions you need to ask, and so on and so forth. And how did we come to creating coffee communication?
What we're doing right now, except not recording.
For one, I'm a coffee drinker. It kind of came from a habit that me and my grandma, we started it together by accident. It was weird. Girl, I want some coffee. Grandma, you know what? Me too. And then we sat at the table, and then you randomly just started talking about stuff. Before you know it, you like, oh my God, it's 12 o'clock. I got this and this and this to do. Girl, come on, let's go get to it. So that's kind of where that came from. And then I told my mom, said, hey, that don't sound too bad. And she put her own spin on it. So that's how coffee communication.
How do you remember it going? How do you remember how we started coffee communication?
I think I was talking to you about something. I was venting to you about something. And then it came out of nowhere and said something about how she had something similar like that. And I really think we were sitting there drinking coffee. And just basically communicating.
Okay, so, sometimes we remember some of the bad things that happened to us more than we remember the good. Mm-hmm. And I remember why I had to start coffee communication.
Me, you, Tay, Kari, Piti Tasha.
No, you just skipped way ahead, baby. Coffee Communication started with the three of us, but it was Asia basically handing me my ass about what type of parent I had been. Oh. And Asia asked to talk, and she explained to me that I was doing, she ain't say horrible, she said, there are times when I need you and you're not there. You working 2 and 3 jobs. When you're not working, you sleep. And when you wake up, you got to go back to work. And Asia said, this is what I remember. I understand you got to put food on the table and you got to go to work and everything, but there are times that we need you and you just not here. And it shook the hell out of me. Because while y'all was drinking coffee, I was looking for some wine. Because it was one of those moments where I couldn't argue. She didn't tell me her opinion. What she stated at that moment was facts. And as a parent, we turn what you all are saying into your opinion of us. If you sit here and say, well, you don't talk to me, what we hear is, well, you're a horrible parent because you don't do what you're supposed to do. If you all say, well, I just don't feel as though we spend any quality time together, what we hear is you saying, well, you act like you don't have time for me. And that's where that defensive parent comes from, because there's like this unknown factor that you all are not allowed to tell us how we make y'all feel. And if you do, it's a reflection on what type of parent we are. So now you've grown the defensive parent, and now every time you open your mouth to say something, it's almost like before you can get it out, it's shut down. And what I'm noticing is that y'all age demographic, the minute y'all realize that that's the type of parent y'all have, not y'all, but y'all age demographic, they shut down. I done had quite a few people say, well, no, I don't talk to my mom because the minute I get to talk to her, first thing she want to do is start hollering and cussing. I'll just be like, you know what, I don't have nothing else to say. That means that you didn't finish that thought. That means that you weren't able to share that feeling. And that also means that now you're walking around housing how you really feel about the environment you're living in, because that's their house. Mm-hmm. And you being made to feel that way in their house. You understand what I'm saying? So me and Asia were talking the other day, and Asia read something to me that she found online, and it was a post from a young lady who stated that she went to a guy's house after school, and she felt uncomfortable because the guy wanted to have sex and she didn't, and she hurried up and called her mama. And even though her mama was at home with her younger siblings and had just got off work and she knows she was tired, her mama was there in 2.5 seconds to get her, and she just asked her, was she all right? And sometimes you just need for your parents to just understand that, yes, I made a mistake, and just leave it alone. Mm-hmm. And I went off. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it, because I told Asia, I'm not that parent. If you call me and tell me you at a ninja house and you uncomfortable because he want to have sex and you don't, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not showing up by myself. We finna get an understanding with little homie real quick. If she said this ain't what she wanted to do, that's what the hell she meant. I don't care how she got here. But then when I get home, because Asia was like, we don't have to talk about it right then and there. You right, but I'm the parent. We gonna talk. I'm not going to sweep this under the rug, because in my mind, if I do, you'll end up at somebody else's house in this same predicament, and then I'm going to have to get there in 2.5 seconds. No, we need to understand first and foremost that you just made me feel real uncomfortable. And for me, I don't know how this go for other parents, but I'm overly protective. And I'm overly protective because y'all all I got. When I started birthing kids, in my mind, God gave me somebody to love me because I was lacking love in my life. So I'm going to be overly protective over them. I'm the mama cub. I will scratch, bite, claw, and anything else about mine. So no, that wouldn't have sat well with me. I'm going to have to wring little dude neck first, and then we going to talk, because I can't have you doing that. You put yourself in harm's way, and because you put yourself in harm's way, what I tell y'all all the time, your actions don't just affect you.
It affects everyone else.
It affects other people that have to be involved in what you did. So Asia looked like she ready to fly off the handle about this. So go ahead, Asia.
It's not really a fly off the handle. It's not just me that felt that post on multiple levels. It was plenty of other people that I know that felt that post on multiple levels. And I'm not saying it to say that a parent is wrong for feeling the need to protect their child or feeling the need to go back and make sure their child is okay and blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that that's a problem. But when we me personally, I'm never going to put myself in a situation like that, and I never have. But if it ever came down to it, I don't want to talk about it right then and there. I'm the type of person where I'm going to beat myself up about it before I let anybody else beat me up about it. So if I'm already knowing on the inside of my mind that I'm beating myself up about it because I'm like, wow, I really did this thinking that things was okay and things were good, and then this turned around, it just happened. I don't want to hear, and I wasn't saying it to say that the little girl mom was basically just gonna sweep it under the rug, because as a parent, I know that's not how that went. But at the same time, let me breathe, let me collect myself back, let me make sure I'm good. But we don't want to hear the whole yelling at us, well, why did you do this and why did... And she said it in the post when she posted it. She said, the first thing when I first seen my mom, she asked me, was I okay? She didn't jump down my throat asking me why I didn't go straight home after school. Why did I go to his house? Did I even ask her knowing that I wasn't supposed to be there? She asked me none of that. She asked me, was I okay? And in the back of my mind, I'm knowing that I probably am going to get chewed out later on about it. Mm-hmm. But right now, I don't want to hear that.
Right.
Just make sure I'm okay for right now. We could talk about it, but just not right now.
Right.
So it's not really like I don't want mama just say anything to me, like, don't bring it up no word or not. No. Let me calm down first. Let me get myself together. I'm good. Now we can talk.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, you agree. You just nodded your head. And I have to say, I do agree with that, because you all already know, that parent that has to fuss, yell, and cuss and everything, I already know how that goes with the kid. Mm-hmm. If you did all that, they don't have nothing to say to you.
And it's just like, if the kid if the kid is in a situation, I'm not going to say kid because we're not talking about kids yet.
No, we're talking about young adults.
If a young adult put themselves in a situation similar to that, and their first thought that come to their head is, I gotta call my mom, or whoever your guardian is, you're not doing something right. Because the first thing that a kid that's panicking does, I need to call my mom, or I need to call my guardian that I live with, or whomever it may be.
So you saying if you're not your child's first source when something's wrong, there's exactly something wrong in that relationship. Yes. Am I y'all first source? Let's clear this up now.
Yeah.
Nene like,
Yeah, Nene, you sound like you lying.
I ain't gonna lie, cause the last time I was almost in a situation like that was like, no, I'm gonna call somebody else first, because I felt like, am I gonna have to hit XYZ? Because this was different.
Well, that was a situation where you knew you just completely overstepped those boundaries.
I did.
Now,
and to me, she was looking for somebody to save her. The people she called, in my opinion, I'm listening to who all she didn't call. I said, no, she was looking for somebody to save her. Yeah. She didn't want to hear about the reaper, because that right there was, you did put yourself in harm's way. Mm. I am mad. And it's like, now that I know you okay, it's like, which one of y'all let the ball roll in the street and ran after, and I had to snatch you back? I made sure you was okay, and then when I got you in the backyard, I kicked your butt. That's how there's still a level of anger. We gonna make sure you good. It was like, when I heard you was good, in my mind, I'm like, no, she finna understand right now that this is not something we do at all. And you have sent everybody off. Everybody's upset. Everybody's confused. People are looking for you. You knew in your mind you had already overstepped. And you looking for the soft-spoken people. Mm-hmm. So when this gets to mama, they could be like, well, Keisha, And I could tell by the people who I was talking to when I did get upset. And they like, well, just calm down. Calm. You know where she at? Well, no. Okay, I can't be calm right now.
But all along in my mind, I was like, this is just stupid. I ain't gonna call her first. No, wait. I'm gonna call her, but I don't call her now. I need somebody to help me explain to her what I just did.
And then sometimes you overthink it. I know when me and Asia, you're of age, so we can say this. When me and Asia were talking about birth control, she was like, yeah, I wanted to have that talk, but I mean, you a parent. You done went off just because I said something about birth control. And I was like, Asia, yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow, because in the back of your mind, you sitting here like, oh my God, is it that time already to be having this talk? I said, but you have to have the talk. I'd rather have the talk than for you to bring a baby into a household that's already struggling. So yeah, I'm gonna sit down, have me a glass of wine, and hear you out, cause I have to. At the end of the day, I have to. I cannot get upset with you all if I didn't set the stage for you to do this right. It's one thing if I never had that talk, if I never said you needed to do this, if I never talked to you about protecting yourself. It's a whole nother thing if I done gave you all the tools you need. I'm an open book. That's an open door. If you can't afford the birth control, call me. I pay for it. If I done set all that up, then yes, when you do bring another mouth into a struggling house, yes, I am looking at you like I gave you the tools. You did not do this right. Therefore, this is your responsibility. You're going to be accountable for where you went wrong at in this, because I did what I was supposed to do. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when you overthink things, and you can again put yourself in a situation that affects the whole house. Had we not had that talk, I wouldn't have had to explain to her, it doesn't matter how you think I'm going to react. I know what our situation is, and I got to man up and have that conversation with you. Period. Was there something else you wanted to say?
No.
Oh, okay. Is there anything y'all want to ask me?
How does it feel to co-parent on your end?
Oh, girl. I'm not gonna lie with why you doing that, Asia? So with Asia's dad, it's obsolete. He don't want to look at me. He don't want to talk to me. He don't want to do nothing. And I'm okay with that.
And that's what made it 10 times harder on me, because it's one thing for you to not communicate or miscommunication, but it's another thing for you to not communicate, go through me, and have hatred with your words that you're wanting me to communicate.
Right. Yeah.
The worst of that be when a person, I say with co-parenting, is when one person is in their emotions. Now that's what it
So on my blog and in most of my videos, I say the number one rule for co-parenting is that you both have to be over what did not work. If one person is still upset about what didn't work out, it doesn't work, because what happens is they use the child against the other parent. If the guy is still upset, he feels like I ain't gonna help her do nothing. That affects the child. It don't just affect the mama, it affects the child. If the woman is upset, now it's you can't see your kid. Well, that's affecting that relationship with that child and the father. You understand what I'm saying? So that is, I can't stress that enough in the things that I type on my website and the things I say in these video blogs, is that both of y'all have to be past what did not work out. Otherwise, you end up with the back and forth where the parent is communicating through a kid, and now all of a sudden one parent feeling as though you can't see your child. It creates a whole lot of confusion when emotions are involved. And Asia's daddy is full of hatred, anger, and emotions. But I know all of that is not me. He's had his own personal issues, be it his parents. He's lost both his parents. You know what I mean? So, and it's rocky, because with all three, I ended the relationship. And so I'm dealing with a man who's upset. And it's a little different when a man dealing with a woman who's upset than a woman dealing with a man who's upset. There's a lot more that the woman ends up having to deal with because the man is angry. He ain't even in a place sometimes to want to see his child. and he ain't asking to see his child. I don't want to do nothing either. I'm not about to help with that. You won't be using my money to do X, Y, Z. It just, all it does is it's burdensome on the woman, but at the same time, that child feels that. So it's unfair to the child. I've gotten to the point where my co-parenting experiences have gotten better. Asia's father I don't deal with him at all. Asia 18. And whatever happens between them, all I can do is coach her as best I can if she comes to me with an issue. If she doesn't come, I know she didn't handle whatever it is they got going on between them. Layla's dad we've gotten to the point I had to be the bigger person. There was too much of, well, you put me out. We're past that. It happened. What are you going to do to help your child? And I had to be the bigger person. No matter what he said, I had to humble myself. It's hard. It is hard. It's not easy. So I will say this. Take your birth control. Take it. Put a timer in your phone. Do whatever you got to do, because you don't want to have children with somebody who's sitting there trying to figure themselves out. You want to have children with people who know they want to spend the rest of their life with you.
So the wholeness part comes in.
That's where the wholeness part comes in at. And it's unfortunate, but I mean, it's 3 of y'all with 3 different men, and each man was broken, and I think we all know my story. So, as you stated earlier, Nene, if you messed up from trauma, he messed up from trauma, both of y'all messed up. So,
that's gonna be one messed up child.
It does end up being...
The baby gonna be all discombobulated.
You all are doing just fine. It looked like you was finna say, Mama, no. Do you guys have any other questions you want to ask me?
I have no questions.
No questions?
Other than the fact that Asia Sharice Tannehill will not be pushing no kids out of this vagina.
Okay. I'll take that. I mean, you might get older, but
I'm just.
I mean, go ahead, get the 2 degrees, get my car, and then however you want to finish that off. You should be somewhere around your late 20s by then. Yeah. I'll take that. Nene looking dazed. Nene like, I want a picket fence, 5 kids.
Get my 6 cats.
Maybe a dog.
You know what? You're doing too much.
What? I would hate to say like, oh, kids, no, because I mean,
you might fall in love one day.
Time.
Okay, I'll take that. Well, you've already broken a chain, so
yeah,
you don't have any kids. You old as hell. How old are you?
36 with no kids.
For the record, how old are you?
I'm 23.
Okay, and you don't have any children.
So
you don't have any children. Okay, so you broke that chain, because we have kids young in our family. You broke that chain.
Was it hard?
Yeah, I understand. I completely understand. So, we will end this chapter of critical conversations with Nene and Asia. And we will see y'all next video.